All right, welcome back to another edition of Sound the Sirens. I'm your host, Thomas Orness, and today we are going to review the Kansas State game and look forward to the Oklahoma State game this weekend. And, I didn't watch the game with you this weekend, so what are your thoughts on what happened in Manhattan?
Well, it was you got to like low-stress games in October, and it was low stress. I mean, never felt like we were in jeopardy of losing it. I mean, Brees comes out and just sticks it to him in the first play. I mean, that was unbelievable. Yeah. And then watching the K-State fans doing thumbs down and flipping him off or whatever in the end zone was pretty cool. I mean, Kansas State was a sellout. It was a big crowd for them, and they honored one of their big-time alumni. So it was a big day for them. But, man, talk about pouring. They were, like the announcer said, some people weren't even in their seats yet. So
Brees already scored, and it was awesome because Iowa State offered him before even Kansas State did. So,
yeah.
It's kind of like, hey, these guys noticed me before you guys did. It was just like, and like it was just like scoring the first play is just like we never do that ever. And
on a running play,
it was designed
off tackle.
Like you can't it was just like you can't complain about Tom Manning because that was a perfect play and executed. Like the blocking was
Kohler was the unsung hero in that play.
The blocking was key there, and Brees, you can't like. The breakaway speed that Brees has when he gets into the open field is just like the only thing you but the only thing about David was he didn't have right.
But
he was like David is like he didn't get to have breakaway speed because he was getting tackled or touched before right when he's getting the ball. So it would have been like, yeah, it's just like man,
yeah.
Brees Hall is fun to watch. It's fun when we're clicking and. It was like me and Michael were just like waiting for something bad to happen the whole time. Like me and Michael are so high stress. Like we're just waiting for the shoe to drop. We just could not allow ourselves to actually enjoy the game. And like the special teams played really good too. And like every time we line up our 40-yard kick, I'm just like, at least we can hope and get it there. But having Mevis now actually just drill him right down the middle. It's like, all right.
He's got a little swag to him, too. I mean, I think he obviously was hurt at the beginning of the year, but when you watch Brees run, doesn't it look like he's trying to put his foot through the turf?
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like his strides are so powerful that every time he takes a step, I'm expecting to see an indentation in the AstroTurf or the field turf or whatever. I mean, he just really runs powerfully, but, man, in having a guy that big, moving that fast, pulling away from D-backs I'm just glad he's playing for us.
Yeah, and we've done a lot. Like I have done a lot of complaining about Brock Purdy, and he shut me up in that game because he only had 2 incompletions the whole game. He just picked apart. He didn't whenever he goes outside of himself, when he just actually trusts when the play calling is good and people in the right spots, and that throw to Sean Shaw was one of the best throws I've ever seen.
Yeah. That and the Kohler in the back of the end zone the game before. I mean, he's third nationally in completion percentage.
Yeah.
So it's hard to complain about him.
Yeah, because just sitting in the stands too, we've heard just the murmurs of Purdy complaining about Purdy, but we need to appreciate him because he is when he is accurate and running the offense. But with him is when you have a running offense, it makes Purdy's job so much easier because he can pick it apart and. When we thought Joe Skates would be the guy, but a healthy Sean Shaw is a difference maker.
Like the mustache too.
Yes, yeah. Sean Shaw healthy is huge. We didn't have those until now, basically, and yeah, it was a very Matt Campbell type of game. We grabbed the throw right away, scored first, and we didn't do anything flashy plays to get up big, but.
Could have, I think, but
we
kind of bled him to death a little bit.
Well, that's whenever we do that, it goes south because it's for whatever reason at Kansas State it just goes south every time. But it finally was just okay, we won and we're better than you. That's
right.
Michael's just through that game. It's we're not that good. No, we're pretty good. It's no, we're I was we're better than them, and Campbell's just with these long slow drives stuck it to him, and it was very, very fun to watch.
Yeah, and they moved the ball a little better than I was hoping they would. I mean, the game wasn't in doubt. I think I really, I guess when everybody talks about how great our defense is, I expect them never to give up a yard.
Yeah.
But they have good players too. So their little guy is pretty good. Yeah, he's a pretty quick player, and sounds like Kleiman's starting to get a little heat. I mean,
really?
Just he's got the same through whatever games it is, 16 games. He has the exact same record as Ron Prince.
Oh, really? Is that a guy before
Snyder? It was Snyder retired. Prince came in. Kansas State sucked.
Oh.
Snyder comes back, brings him back. Now he's got the same exact record he does through Prince's.
But last year was so bad for Kansas State because injuries, COVID.
Right.
You kind of throw away last year with Kansas State, but yeah, and they had a quarterback on a bum knee,
and he was not. He's not. There's no way
he's not 100%, but he still played very well.
He's really good.
But our defense, we always freak out because we're supposed to whenever our defense, we're so used to our defense, okay, we played Iowa and Iowa scored didn't have 200 yards total, and you and I, and then whenever we finally played a team that has a good player in Deuce Vaughn and Skylar Thompson, who's hurt, was pretty solid quarterback. He's been there for 10 years.
Yeah,
and
he looks a little bit like David Montgomery, don't you think? I mean, just the way he runs, and he's not as strong as David was, but he just reminded me of he just reminded me of David running a little bit. But our defense is only two teams have had total offense of over 300 yards on us so far.
Oh yeah, it wasn't Iowa. It wasn't you.
It's pretty good. I mean,
yeah. So it'll be moving on to Oklahoma State. All the national pundits are Iowa State's favored by a touchdown. Okie State's overrated. But the thing about I watched the Texas game. Texas was 24-7. They're about to go in the end zone again, and then they just throw a pick six. And then for whatever reason, whenever just like the Oklahoma game for Texas, when they roll, they roll, but when they fall, they fall.
Talking about Texas, right?
Texas,
yeah. Texas doesn't have a lot of discipline yet. Yeah. It sounds like a more talented version of last year.
They'll be a scary team to play.
Oh, sure.
Because that Bijan Robinson kid is stupid good. Because he's one of the best players in the country. But they'll whenever they get all together, hopefully when they do, it'll be in the SEC, not in the Big 12. Because hopefully we can win out here and go to the Big 12 championship somehow. But Texas is a team that's scarier than I thought it would be in.
Well, we got 2 games. We got 2 games before that we have to take care of business.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I'm saying about Okie State is whenever their defense is very similar to ours. They right in front of you, make people make mistakes, and Texas made mistakes, and then that was very weird because it was 24/7. They threw a pick six, and Texas was just folded, basically.
Yeah. Well, doesn't that sound like Texas that has been the last few years? I mean, that's just the way they play right now.
Yeah, it was a very. But, Okie State, Sanders, not very, in my opinion, not very impressive. He just, he's a very, loose cannon. Either he makes the highlight of the game or it's just, a pick thrown over his head. It's kind of hit or miss, just a gunslinger. Kind of like Steele Jance was. Goes for goes for the big play every single time. He's better than Steele Jance, but, goes for the big play every time. But when he makes it, it's holy crap. But, when he throws a bad pick, just man, this is just really the starting quarterback. But it just hopefully, because you can't really say home field advantage because they just went in Texas with 110,000 fans screaming at them. So they've just come off a game where they shut up Texas in Texas, and it's I don't know. I just hope we show up. We just do it. I just want to, because just looking at the past seasons, the games have been very similar to what 2 years ago was. We barely beat you and I. We were very disappointing loss against Iowa, and then Baylor ended very similar to Baylor at Baylor, and the Okie State game when Purdy was here and Brees was just a scrawny but really good freshman. We threw it 64 times.
Yeah.
And Brees was averaging 11 yards a carry or something like that, something crazy like that. And we're just that was the game where Tom Manning got the most heat. Why? Because Purdy, and he was just a true sophomore. We're putting it all on the shoulders of a true sophomore, but Brees has gotten a little better since then.
Oh yeah, he's got a little bigger since then.
He's like an NFL running back at Iowa State right now, and I think that's the difference, and the difference is they don't have Chuba Hubbard and Tylen Wallace anymore, and our defense has the same players but have improved drastically.
Yeah,
and that's why I think the national pundits think we're going to win, and that's why I'm kind of confident we're going to win. Is just that being what I've just explained.
Yeah, I mean, Oklahoma State is Oklahoma State. Gundy's been there forever. They've got athletes. Gundy's about as consistent as his mullet sometimes. I mean, the way they play, but he is hilarious to listen to. Though I heard Campbell's press conference, and somebody said, I noticed that your pregame talk that you have with a coach is always longer with Gundy than it is with some of the other ones. And Campbell basically admitted that Gundy's pretty funny. So Gundy said something on social media today. I was going to look it up before we started about not having a cell phone or not doing texting.
Oh yeah, I mean, he kind of looks. If there's any coach in the Big 12 that has a flip phone, it's probably Gundy or Gary Patterson.
Yeah, I mean,
those two are very similar.
Gundy, you think of Gundy, you think of I'm a man, I'm 40, or whatever he said that one time when one of the guys were complaining about his players.
Think of that, and he almost got fired over wearing a T-shirt. Remember that?
Right. What's that?
The the
OAN thing.
The news network. I had no idea.
I hadn't even heard of it before that day.
Yeah, that was crazy. That feels like 70 years ago. Which
oh my gosh, I know.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have a great crowd. Weather looks really good. It'll be another good tailgating day. It's October in Iowa. A lot of the harvest is done, so some of the farmers can go now again this week, and
homecoming week. Yeah,
homecoming week. So be a lot of alumni there probably, and should be fun. I mean, I just hope we just need to keep the ball rolling because we've got a lot out in front of us. That if we can get this one and then head to West Virginia and then stare that Texas game right in the face. That those are three. They're all huge at this point. I mean, going to Texas Tech is not going to be a walk in the park. I mean, Texas Tech is not good, but going to Lubbock is not fun. So everything's out in front of us right now. It's just everybody. I'm sure the kids are just taking one game at a time, like the old cliche goes. And
yeah, it's just very. What the most comforting thing about the Kansas State game was the kicking game.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Yeah,
it's just we get in. We don't have to go it on 4th and 3, 4th and 2. We have a kicker that can make a 43 to 45-yarder field goal, which we haven't had that since Tony Elk.
Yeah, Tony Elk was not consistent.
But where were we I don't know, but I remember
he had a big leg. I mean,
we've never really had a consistent guy who can just nail it from 40 every single time for a while. There was a 2017 kicker. I can't remember his name. He was a grad transfer, but I can't remember his name. Yeah, he was probably the last most in Cold Netting, of course.
Cold Netting, yeah.
But we never were in the red zone, so he couldn't kick field goals. So yeah, and then the talk of the week has been logos.
Yeah, I don't
because I was a sheep. I went and got the retro shirts from the Iowa State bookstore, and I like them, but
don't say sheep. Somebody just called Todd Blythe sheep on Twitter this afternoon.
Well, yeah, I was just. The logos, what might as well talk about. What's your preference?
I listened to Blythe and Meyer today. They talked a lot about it. Other guys have been talking about it, and my personal opinion is we have to stop changing logos. I mean, they say Iowa's had the same one forever since they've had it since the late 70s, early 80s, and other teams have had the same one. I said, yeah, that's right. That's what branding is. I mean, if you keep changing your logo, I don't think it really does. I mean, I know you're trying to modernize it and all this stuff, but we're not Pepsi, we're not Coke, we're not Nike. I mean, we should be having the consistent brand. The I-State thing I like. I mean, I wasn't a big fan of it at the beginning, but now it's our trademark, and that's what we should stick with. But the throwback ones are fun. I mean, I like the walking side guy. I mean, I told you I like that big I that we used as a throwback game back whenever it was a Shaggy game.
The Shaggy game where we won in all field goals.
The game from the 70s. I mean, I heard somebody say today they like the lowercase ISU with the star on the I. I mean, I didn't. That and the bugle is my least favorite ones.
But when it comes to branding, all that, it was basically whoever was the best in the 60s and 70s. They just kept the branding. It was Penn State,
the Yankees.
Alabama.
When was the last time the Yankees changed their logo? I mean,
that's. Well, that's professional sports, but Bama, Penn State, USC, Michigan. I guess you can lump it. Maybe Iowa just kind of went along with, but
they changed it when Hayden Fry came.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but they've also had success since then, so they haven't felt like they needed to change it. So I think since we're having success, I don't think we need to talk about it. I like, mixing it up with the throwbacks, like the fact that these T-shirts kind of took off again, and I threw away a bunch of that stuff probably not that long ago, and I like the walking bird dude that, people are talking about, but, I just hope we don't change it again. I don't want to go to another version of it.
Well,
because to be honest with you, we changed our colors not that long ago.
Is it a question because, let's just hypothetically, branding, if McCarney doesn't kind of fade out at the end of his career, if Larry Stacia doesn't have the huge scandal, do we still have the same logo?
Yeah, I don't know.
I guarantee you we still do, because it's all it really is okay, we've been bad for 10 years or 5, or let's change our logo. We got to change the branding, because then we got Gene Chizik came in with the new logo, I'm pretty sure, right? Or the first couple of years after.
Yeah, I don't remember what year the I-State thing came in.
It was either Chizik or Paul Rhodes. It was always a coaching change. It was the end of McDermott era, and then we got Fred. And then why would we change it now when we have had, with this logo, we've had the best era in basketball and the best era in football?
Yeah, I think it's kind of a fun debate. No, I don't think they're talking about changing it. But I just hope they don't. We mixed in dark blue at one time when McCarney was around, and you're wearing a red shirt. Well, we're Cardinal, so then we went to more of a USC type color, and everybody started criticizing us for that.
But winning cures all. Winning cures
right.
all.
And so I'm so over talking about uniforms and colors and stuff. I think it's cool when we come out with a different combination, as like the one we're doing this weekend. But if we keep winning, that's really all that matters. And I think that when we keep winning, then the brand really starts to sink in a little bit, and then it's really dumb to change your logo. When the Golden State Warriors were not winning, that's when they were changing stuff all the time, because they were trying to keep people interested and getting people to buy stuff.
The T-Wolves changed their stuff.
Right.
All these
the Buccaneers sucked when they came in the NFL. They're different colors then than they are now. So if we keep winning, we can go back to the throwbacks if you want. But why in God's green earth would you go to a throwback uniform of a team that didn't win?
Yeah. Well,
that doesn't make any sense.
Okay, all right. The perfect time to do it was last year, because the homecoming game last year was the Texas Tech game, which would have been very cool to just do the run games.
Oh, sure.
Bring back the Seneca Wallace's old uniforms for one game.
Yeah.
Seeing Brock Purdy and Breece Hall just beat the living crap out of Texas Tech with those uniforms.
That's a win. That's what I'm talking about, though. That's a successful time to reflect on, not on a bad time.
That's what I'm talking about. That's that would have been the perfect time to put in what people on Twitter have been talking about, with the throwback uniforms. So it was just kind of funny how it just takes a little bit of I think I'm right, just stir up arguments over Twitter.
Oh my God. But that's what Twitter is.
Yeah.
We argue over everything. The whole COVID thing has turned Twitter in. Remember when Twitter first came out, and was it Carmelo Anthony got in trouble for tweeting in the locker room at halftime because he was basically just saying, "Hey, I'm sitting here at halftime listening to a speech." That's what Twitter started out as.
Yeah.
Just saying, "Hey, I'm at Subway eating a meatball sub," and now it's turned into, "You suck. I hate your mom, and hope you die," and all this stuff.
Then I think, we can. I don't think that has anything to do with Iowa State, but yeah.
No, it doesn't. But you said Twitter is where we're arguing about stuff. Now everybody argues about everything on Twitter. Yeah, we don't ever talk to each other face to face.
I think when it changed is when the first election cycle came around. When
Twitter was when Twitter was at. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Facebook and MySpace and all that kind of stuff is.
Weirdly enough, the person that told me to get Twitter was Royce White when he was here.
Oh, really?
He told me to get Twitter. It's going to be the new thing. It was 2010. Yeah, and I was like, all right, I'll get Twitter, and he followed me, and. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
That's a podcast in and of itself. Or having Royce White here and how I got him here, and he came to my basketball camp and came to our house and ate lunch, and
it was,
that was just a surreal moment because nobody knew who he was. I mean, I knew he was really good, and I introduced him to the kids at basketball camp as this is the best player you've never heard of, and I remember him telling me. I was talking about where he's going to fit in, and he said point guard, and I started laughing out loud. Yeah. But then, geez, he was right.
Because then we went that was before the summer league, or
we went down to the
Nap City League,
right?
And then we went down watching him. He's just dribbling the ball in the court. I'm like, holy crap!
Yeah,
because
it was so much fun.
We even were bad since Tinsley, or I guess John Neal and Jared Holman, till then. Yeah. It was like, holy crap! Because you just had these Chris Allen played in the Final Four. Chris Babb was stud. Anthony Booker was just he was built like a body figure. Yeah. And Royce White, the former 5-star recruit, and just going against like Luke Terhark of the Simpson players, and just it was kind of fun.
Yeah, I remember shaking hands with him, and man, I thought he was wearing a baseball glove. His hands were so big and so thick. I mean, he was just and I think what did he say? His uncle was Dave Winfield.
Yeah,
I mean, the only guy to ever get drafted in Major League Baseball, basketball and football, I believe. So he's
he's got the genetics.
That we could talk about that forever. That was a lot of fun. Having Tyrus here back then was fun too.
Yeah, just and also it's almost the 10-year anniversary of the when we beat Okie State, the number 2 in Team of the Nation.
Yeah, I remember that night. That was fun. Sitting in our basement, and it was a Thursday night, right?
Yep, a Thursday. Yeah, I think it was Friday night. Because then college game day was the next morning, I think. I'm not.
For some reason, I thought it was a Thursday night, but I could be right. It doesn't matter.
Either or, because I feel like I would remember going to school the next day.
Yeah, because one of your friends went down and rushed the field after the game, drove all the way down there.
Yeah, about that game, it's we were thinking about going, but then Coach Hines, Michael's coach, had late practice.
Oh, that's right.
It wouldn't allow us to go, and missed out on probably.
He's a Hawk fan, that's why.
Yeah. Missed out on probably that's perfect. You're growing up and you're just all right, you're probably going to all right, we'll leave at halftime. We'll see how it goes. And it was just out of nowhere.
Yeah. I remember watching that last play. I mean, we're just waiting for the next shoe to drop because we'd never done anything like that before. Yeah,
I think that's why we put Woody in, because he could not fumble because he's the power back.
Very reminiscent of the end of the Texas game last year. We're on the edge of our seat for one final play, and we're thinking something's going to go wrong.
Yeah, that's probably the most shocking game in my life, in my opinion. That and the Oklahoma game, but
being Oklahoma down there with Kyle Kemp starting was pretty shocking.
That was too, but out of nowhere, it's just senior night. We've really not shown that much promise the whole season. We needed one more win because back then, we've talked about Brian Peavy about the 6 wins was such a huge deal back then.
Yeah, he did.
And we just all right, we could win the next week, but because we played Okie State, then we played Oklahoma, and then we actually played Oklahoma pretty well, and then John Walters and Eric Heff, they're celebrating just Eric Heff just randomly goes, "We're bowl eligible."
Right. But how far beyond? I mean, we're way past that now. I mean, that doesn't being bowl eligible doesn't even cross my mind.
But back then, it was just okay,
we're
playing
deal.
Okie State number 2. Let's just not get embarrassed on live television. And just Leonard Johnson, but Brent Bloom had the stat. We had more pros playing in that game than Okie State did.
Yeah,
they played longer in the league, which is kind of nuts. That was fun.
Yeah, fun night. That was when we're hoping we'd be bowl eligible so we could go to John Septic Cleaning Bowl or whatever the worst bowl was, just to get to a bowl was all we're looking for. Now we don't even think about it.
So what are your predictions? We'll not talk about the score, but what are your predictions? What do you see?
Well, happening? Before we get there, I think one big move that Campbell made last week that was not, they talked about it in the pregame show, but it is a really big move. Is you take the super senior Foster and start a sophomore over him at tackle.
Yeah.
And Jared Hufford obviously earned his way in there, and from all accounts that Sean Foster has handled it the right way. Campbell has gone way out of his way talking about how much of a coach on the sideline he was helping this kid play, and he obviously did really well. So that's a big move to be able to take one of your guys that decided to play another year on the offensive line and put somebody else in front of him. But Yeah, I just I'm hoping that and what I said last week didn't happen. I was thinking somebody was going to come off the bye week hurt, and that didn't happen. So I was glad I was wrong in that case. And I'm hoping that we're still healthy. But the question I have, I actually tweeted it at John Walters at the Collins show Monday night. They never answered it. Is what happened to Joe Skates?
Yeah.
Did he play at all?
I don't think he did.
So is he in the doghouse or what's going on?
Sean Foster is really good.
Yeah, I know.
Also.
But Skates had just had a pretty good game.
It might have just been the game plan, but with him it's either or. Like, but
I hope it's a situation thing.
If Sean Shaw is there, like Sean Shaw is consistent, like especially in the red zone, he's money. Purdy and Purdy, he's like the answer. What we talked about like last week. We need a third option. Sean Shaw could be that in the red zone, because
he's our big receiver.
We can't go to Kohler every time, but third and long every time. Me and Mike were like, all right, it's going to Kohler somehow, and then Kohler makes a good play, and
he's so nonchalant about it too. I mean, it's almost cocky. It's almost like, yeah, I got an A on the calculus test or something. He just dropped. That one guy was hanging on him, and he still caught the ball in the first quarter, and then he just drops it and walks back like he's not beating his chest or anything.
And there's some throws I'm like, man, he could be like, he's a pro. Like Kohler's a pro playing in college. So is Brees. And
there's a lot of them out there. I mean,
like Will McDonald every time, like man, like every time third and long, I'm like, here's Will McDonald, and then he goes and almost strips it to.
He gets held. We've talked about it before, but excuse me, he gets held every stinking time he rushes.
Just basically how like the refs call it a couple times, like the UNLV game, they called it every single time, which I haven't seen with him since he's been Iowa State, but I think it will be nice to see, because like the Texas game, that's where Will McDonald always shines, just like in the big moments. Like
I can't wait,
especially like the bigger linemen. Like, okay, and I'm going to be in the NFL someday. I got to really show like I'm not. But Will McDonald plays that hard every single down. Like we're beating Kansas by 100. He's still playing the same speed, and that's what I love about him. And Zach Peterson too.
Yeah, he's Zach Peterson is the new J.D. Wagner in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, J.D. was a lot of fun to watch, and Zach Peterson plays the same way. We're a very blue collar Iowa kid and plays extremely hard. And there's a lot we could say that about a lot of kids. I mean, Isheem Young plays extremely hard. I think T.J. Tampa is going to be an absolute stud.
But like, just talk about the Kansas State thing. What in the hell were they doing? If T.J. Tampa intercepts that, like it was in his hands or went right through his hands, like they were like very nonchalantly going up to the line, just like
talking about Kansas State, right?
Kansas State was like, did they just give up? Like,
I don't know.
If I'm a Kansas State, I'm like, I think we could score here and then get an onside kick. Like Iowa State's not we've barely they almost got the onside kick.
Right.
After they finally scored.
Because it was Chase Allen that made
Chase
the play.
Allen finally got like under it, and just like because like it looked like they got it. I'm like, oh man, here we go. Like no, it just finally bounced our way. Finally.
Yeah, I think Kansas State is on a tipping point in my opinion. Just from here listening to the national media and stuff, is that Kleiman came out this week and said he would appreciate. Excuse me, air is really dry in here today. If the media would help him be more positive towards this team, so then also they're hearing rumors that they're unhappy with him down there. I mean,
well, who's going to go to Kansas State?
Well, I mean he's a terrific coach. I didn't realize he played at UNI. Did you know that?
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, that's how he knows Terry Allen.
Oh, really?
So anyway, but I think I know we're all over the map here, but the thing that I read today that absolutely blew my mind about us is that we have won 8 consecutive Big 12 games.
Yeah. Well, in the regular season.
Yeah.
Which,
when was the last time that happened?
I would be close to never, probably.
Excuse me, 8 consecutive home wins against Big 12 tournament teams.
Yeah, home, because Purdy's only lost one road home game in conference versus opponent as Okie State.
8 consecutive home wins versus Big 12 teams. It's a school record and the best active home field winning streak versus league foes by a Big 12 team.
Yeah,
That's sick. There's not many times in our lifetime we'd be able to say that.
yeah. There's a lot of things. Just like I just think our fan base has gotten its confidence back. Like we really don't need the national attention because like we're favored by 7, but like no one's really still talking about us. Like I think this I talked with Michael or to like texted him today. It's like it kind of feels like the TCU game where we just beat the living crap out of them 1 year.
Yeah.
That's what I think is gonna happen.
Did you hear what happened in the TCU game? You know that I think I heard this right. That Patterson's song that he has, that country song. They started playing it.
Oh, really?
That's hilarious.
Well, if you do that, you're just asking for that.
Oh, right.
Like imagine if
right.
Matt Campbell came out with a song and
Patterson should have a song about pulling up his pants. He pulls up his pants constantly. It just cracks me up.
The thing about Gary Patterson, my favorite like Gary Patterson thing was they were getting absolutely murdered in the bowl game. He was just drenched.
Oh, yeah.
He changed his whole outfit, and then they came back and won. And
right.
And like
he looks
the post game, everyone was just talking about how he changed his outfit. Like their team just came back from 30. It's never been done before, and you're talking about his outfit.
Yeah, he looks like he's giving the man down by the river speech in Saturday Night Live sometimes. But yeah, he's a heck of a coach, though. I mean, he's done a lot down in TCU, man. So.
And like outside Iowa State, going to like the Big 12, like the Caleb Williams, Spencer Rattler thing.
Oh boy,
that'd be kind of really really tough. Like you're Spencer Rattler, you beat the living crap out of Florida in bowl game, you won the Big 12 championship, and
your bench,
and like you're the Heisman favorite, Vegas coming this season, and now you're not playing, and you're got beat out by Caleb Williams, who didn't even play high school football last year because of COVID. Is like one of his first games, like playing long games was against your rival in Texas, like coming down and coming back and beating your rival in like awesome fashion. And like that's what I'm comparing it is to. This might not be fair to Spencer, but it's very reminiscent of the Jacob Park situation.
But we weren't chanting the backup quarterback's name. I mean, that clip at Oklahoma of them chanting Williams' name at Oklahoma,
like we were not,
is not a good look. I don't care what team you are. I mean, because of everything you just said, Big 12, the Heisman contender, and everything else, all of the wins he had.
But Oklahoma's spoiled, so damn spoiled. Just think about when we beat them in Norman. They had Kyler Murray on the bench.
Yeah,
they had 2 number 1 draft picks. Like this, I don't think Spencer Rattler is a number 1 draft pick, but before coming, like until a couple weeks ago, we thought he was a guaranteed first draft pick.
Sure,
but it's not out of the realm where Oklahoma just has 2 first round draft picks on the same team, and one just played a little less, didn't play very good, and Spencer Rattler is just going to transfer somewhere else and still eventually being the number 1 pick. But I've also heard the national pundits talk about like, well, if he does transfer, if he can't do it with Oklahoma's weapons, how is he going to do it? Like if he transfers to Nebraska, I've heard he might transfer to Nebraska.
Why Nebraska?
That's the one I heard. There's probably it's probably not going to happen, but Nebraska.
I think he's heading don't you think he's going to the SEC?
Yeah, like just
he wants to stick it to Oklahoma.
Where I think it'd be perfect is like I think Ole Miss has a really good quarterback now, but after he leaves, or I think he might. I'm not sure if he leaves or not for the NFL. I'm not sure if he's old enough. I don't know that much about college football. I'm just trying to think of him and Lane Kiffin. That'd be perfect offense because Lane Kiffin's just like a.
That was. Don't sell yourself short. You say you don't know that much about college football. You don't know that much about every single team in college football. I mean, that's.
Did you see the Tennessee fiasco? Them throwing stuff on the field, and
no.
Lane Kiffin got thrown a golf ball at.
Oh no!
And he was walking out of the stadium, and they threw a water ball at him. He just like Odell Beckham did and caught it, and then he was very right to the line and threw his hat up. Yeah, it was chaotic.
Well, I mean, Brock could go in the history books again. He needs 4 more completions to break Brett Meyer's career completion record Saturday. So
yeah, and
that'll be
the thing about Brock is he can come back next year if he wants.
Yeah, he won't.
He won't, but he could just absolutely like. So let's just hypothetically say he comes back. Is there an asterisk? Because you can't play just 5 years.
Right. Yeah. No, I think there's a lot of records that'll have an asterisk next to them because of this. Because they're the only I guess technically you've got 4 classes that could have 5 years if you played as a freshman.
Let's just say Brees loves.
If you're going to play a freshman, you're not coming back for that 5th
Let's just
year.
say Brees Hall loves academics, right? He's going to come back next year, and then he can come back again because of COVID.
Right.
And he's already breaking Troy Davis' records.
So stupid.
I know. I'm just saying, what if he just really loves?
No, he won't do.
Yeah, but yeah,
Ames is a cool place. It ain't that cool. He's going.
Yeah,
He's moving.
I don't
on.
think Hickory Park tastes that good.
No, or he's not going to come back just for the new walkway.
Yeah, or yeah,
that they started putting up this week. So
yeah, it's going to be a fun weekend, I think, and we got media day for basketball, and I think that team will be fun to watch. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited about what they're saying about Kalsher. He's shooting the ball really well. I talked to a friend of mine that is a Minnesota fan and said last year he really struggled, but the year before he really lit it up. And so they said if he can get that confidence back, and I think that's kind of what TJ learned from Fred is to try to get you have to instill confidence in your shooters. So, and if Condit has made the progress that everybody says he has, that'll be huge. I mean, and they said I listened to TJ's press conference this week, and the part that I like the most is that kid that played at Denver in the Summit League last year. He said, quote, he's got a nasty streak.
Oh, yeah?
And when was the last time we had a really big guy? I'm thinking Jared Holman.
Yeah.
Maybe Cato, had the nasty streaks in them. Those are always fun to watch. So,
yeah.
That should be fun.
We haven't had like a rebounder, like just a guy who goes out and rebounds.
Right,
like Dustin Hogue.
Dustin
Hogue was.
How about a 6'9" Dustin Hogue? That'd be kind of fun.
Dustin Hogue, man. Like we can go on about Dustin Hogue all along. He's one of my favorite players because
he was so much fun to watch. I mean,
just did all the dirty work, and like the women's team is ranked 12th in the preseason poll. Yeah, and me and Louie were thinking about looking at season tickets there, and I've only been to one. And like the way they lost in the tournament last year, I'm like, man, they deserve fan support because they're gonna be really fun to watch. Yeah. Lexi is Iowa State's first 5-star recruit in women's basketball, and they just have they're really fun to watch too. And
yeah,
Bill Fenley is probably he has the longest coaching career for years wise probably in Iowa State for how long did Johnny Orr coach?
Oh, Johnny came in 79.
Yeah, because Fenley's
80.
Fenley literally built women's basketball what it is now.
Sure.
And I think he literally he's grown he's his peak coaching because he's improved a lot. There's a lot of good Josh Carper, Michael's old AU coaches on there. Yeah, he's a great guy and a good coach, and I think it'll be really fun to watch. And
gives us another thing to turn on a boring winter night in Iowa. So I mean, we've got some really fun weeks ahead of us. With we've got some games that are going to mean a lot here for football, and we go down the list of the games we have left. Oklahoma State, then on the road to West Virginia, which you are going to, correct? Yep. Yeah. Yep. So, and the big one with Texas, and then if we can win these next 3, that Texas Tech game scares me.
No.
Just because it's Lubbock.
Nope.
You talk to any former player, they hate going to Lubbock. It is in the middle of. They might as well send one of the probes from Mars there. It is so remote.
But we absolutely own them.
I know.
We absolutely Campbell. Last year was a joke. They only crossed the 50-yard line twice.
Yeah, and they're not good this year.
They're not very good. They beat Kansas. Congratulations. But yeah.
Yeah, I think the Humboldt Wildcats.
I don't think Texas Tech is a trap game. I don't think Texas Tech. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that coach survives after this year.
Yeah. I got into a fun group text. I'm with some of the dads and their local high school football team, and some Iowa State fans and a Kansas State fan on there. So I was in a group text with them last week talking a little crap. And
I was the last podcast I started the podcast saying Kansas State fans really there's not really nastiness, but there was a lot of nastiness on Twitter because I guess they get their feelings hurt too when you talk crap about their team.
Yeah, I was saying whether Bill Snyder was going to star in the remake of Weekend at Bernie's, but I didn't like that very well.
What's your score prediction?
Oh, I think it's going to be a shootout. Personally, I think it could be 34-28. I mean, I think it could be a high-scoring game. I guess because Oklahoma State's got so many athletes, I could see us. I think we can put up 30 on them. It's going to depend on whether we adjust to some of the stuff, because Gundy's really good. I mean, and adjust to some of the goofy crap they do on offense. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be it's going to be an entertaining game, just because I think there's going to be a lot of points scored. It's not going to be, like a team out east score 7 points thing.
Yeah, that was fun to watch.
Yeah.
Me and Michael really enjoyed that one. But the thing about Oklahoma State is we have the same team back then, but Breece Hall is way better.
And we have a kicker. You can't underestimate.
We have a kicker who can kick it out.
Understate that.
We can have a kicker and kick it out of that end zone. And the one player, like, he was really good. He was a decent player, but I hate to say it, but Braxton Lewis really struggled in that Oklahoma State game where a lot of big plays.
Oh, yeah.
But we replaced him with the Sheem Young. And basically the same teams with our defense and our offense.
And their defense has been there forever.
Their defense is good too. But we have Breece Hall and a lot of veterans, and I just hope we show up.
And Brock Purdy's on fire right now.
Yep.
I mean, he's throwing it through some pretty small windows. So,
but when he locks in mentally, he's just the best quarterback we've ever had.
And he's also the part that I like about watching with Brock is he thoroughly enjoys the game.
Yeah.
When he's doing poorly, you can tell he really takes it to heart. But when he's playing well, he's just thoroughly having fun. Which is at the end of the day, this is a game.
He doesn't it's not about him. It's about everyone else. Like that's why him and Campbell, I think, is just like been the perfect match.
Yeah.
And like how he came in the Okie State game and hasn't looked back since. And
yeah, I don't know if we ever talk about where I was at that day.
Yeah, you're in California.
Standing on a beach in California, standing in line for a concert, watching it on my phone. And who is this guy?
Yeah, we could do a podcast about that game just itself.
That was fun.
That was a fun game. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a fun weekend. I think we win by at least 10. How about that? Well, I'm never right on the score prediction, so
I was pretty close last week.
What'd you say?
What did I say? I can't remember. I thought I said
30 to 10 or something.
I thought we'd win by 10, whatever the margin was. So it's pretty close.
Yeah. So hope to see all you guys tailgating. It should be a perfect fall weather, and
we're gonna run a special on shirts this week. I think we're also definitely gonna say if you place an order on chewworks.com this week, use the Sound the Sirens promo code STC. We'll give you any T-shirt you want once that order clears, and once we see it come through, we'll reach out to you, or you can reach out to us and tell us what color of shirt you want and your T-shirt size. Same thing with grandviewbeef.com. If you use Sound the Sirens, the STC code, you can send it to us, or we'll get a hold of you, and you can have any T-shirt you want based on that one order. Just need your size and what color you want off the website. And we're working on hoodies. We're not there yet, and
we're getting there.
We'll hopefully have those by the time it gets super cold out. So
yep. And I appreciate you guys listening. You can like, subscribe,
share it with your friends. Hit that share button on your phone. Share it with your friends. I'm still finding a lot of people that haven't heard about this that I know personally, which it means I'm not doing my job. So
all right. So yeah, go Cyclones.
Go Cyclones.